You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, as always, we put Ghana first. And here is my take. I title it, Community Sentence, Plea Bargain for the Poor. Some, and I think many, dislike the idea of allowing, quote unquote, a criminal, especially the big thieves involved in corruption offenses, simply pay back and walk free. We don't like the idea. But this dispensation has existed in Ghana since 1993 in what we call the Court Act. It allows for compensation and restitution by the accused person. You go to court, you plead guilty, you are convicted on your own plea, but you are not sentenced to go to jail. I have used it for clients who admitted their wrong in causing economic loss to the state. You only lose your freedom if you fail to pay what is agreed between you and the state for your liberty, in which case you'll be thrown into jail because you did not keep to the agreement to pay back the stolen money, quote unquote, and perhaps the interest that was put on it. It is not for all offenses. It is for certain offenses, but they do not include minor offenses, which are often committed by the poor and hungry. It is abhorred in our part of the world, especially by the poor, because they don't benefit from it. And we seem naturally oriented to the Old Testament, eye for eye and tooth for tooth. We are incurably religious, yet unforgiving. And we like to destroy, especially the wealthy. You hear about the pull him down thinking? Yeah. Even law enforcement officers have the mob justice mentality. Some treat suspects as though they have already been, convicted or condemned to suffer hell by a court. We like it that the accused are thrown into jail while the victim is left without any compensation and care. People have raised hell that some of those facing trial over the banking or financial sector mess or are being allowed to take advantage of this law. They pay plus interest rather than only being thrown into jail. We passed the law for the bigger thieves. That's the Office of Special Prosecutor Act, and enhanced this avenue to give them further opportunity. And we actually gave it its proper name, plea bargain, for the very first time. It also allows the state to free one man so he could lead us to catch his many other thieves and even testify against them and to prevent more planned looting of our meager resources. They say exchange is not robbery. Not so. Just recently, we elevated this law by making a full, complete law on plea bargain. Just recently, a couple of weeks ago. Now, here's my point. While the Attorney General deserves applause for getting a bill for community sentencing, that is non-custodial sentencing, ready, I think this pro-poor policy rather deserves greater speed in passing it. So I say, let the genuine heart prompting it, push it faster. Because it doesn't make sense to imprison the man who stole a bunch of plantain to feed his family because he can't afford a fine, however small that fine. While another who robbed an entire village, people died because that hospital was not built. And people couldn't go to school because that school building was not put up. One man stole that money to allow such a person to walk free. Since 2004, the CDD has led and the state has accepted this path, yet we can't seem to pass the law on community sentencing. In fact, we did a bill for it, but that bill has seen Parliament go and come. I suppose it has not even gone to Parliament. The Attorney General has done a new one, and it is my prayer that this one will see the light of day. It simply doesn't make sense to put people who are hungry and committing minor offenses to prison so that the state will feed them in prisons that are congested, in prisons where they go and catch diseases, in prisons where they go and get habits rather to become thieves, instead of giving them an opportunity to properly rehabilitate by sentencing them to work. The story is told of one woman in Kenya who was sentenced to community work service. She was sent to a hospital just to keep the books properly. By the time her time was up, the hospital decided to employ her. This is the way that a humane society must approach certain crimes. And this is my take. Newsfile is brought to you by the candid sponsorship of Bank of Africa, strong as a group and close as a partner. MTN everywhere you go. Ashesi University, educating ethical and entrepreneurial leaders for Africa. Robert & Sons Optical Services, your comprehensive eye care service provider for 31 years. Waylead Properties, home is where one stars. And Fanat, Ghana. Think wood, think Fanat. We will be right back. I'll introduce my guest to you, and then we go into the issues of the IMF, what we are going to lose for what we may gain, and to answer the question, the rising, increasing agitation, civil society and labor unions. Is it fair in these times? We'll be right back.